Welcome to the Triple Threat Podcast. The part of Alex Vaughn this week will be played by Ian Hanlin. And now, music. What a great song. Welcome back to the Triple Threat Podcast. This is Will Vaughn coming to you from Vancouver, BC. Holler at you, boy. I don't know why I said that. I'm coming at you with Ian Hanlin is back on the show. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, hey. You were a last minute, what do you call it, the 11th hour hero
It's true.
of the show. And coming to you from the snow capital of... like the universe, like there's more snow there than Pluto, which isn't a planet; it's a dwarf planet, whatever.
Nova Scotia, I think someone calls it.
Nova Scotia. Wow,
Yeah,
man!
I like that.
It's almost too obvious, so I'm not really embarrassed if I didn't come up with it. Sometimes you hear that, you're like, "Man, I would have got that eventually." I
would have got that eventually. Matt Vaughn's coming at us from
hi.
from the snowy Halifax.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say about it other than there's just more snow than I've ever seen. It's remarkable how much matter is here on this in this city.
It's so much matter.
It's so much matter, physical matter.
It's more than a smatter of matter.
Ooh.
It's
more than a smatter.
more than a smatter.
Is that from the new Dr. Seuss book?
More than a smatter. Yeah. Well, he died.
Yeah, but a new book's coming out.
Really?
They found a book.
Posthumously?
We gotta.
Okay.
Okay, I saw something else that was like they found another story, or like, and I just. You got to think that these things they find are intentionally hidden, right?
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that. I actually just the thought popped in my head, like, okay, well, I'm going to hide some scripts, right, some stuff, and none of them will be good. But after I go, people will be like, oh, this is what he wanted to show the world, but he was too afraid when he was alive. Let's give the world this.
That I think happened with, I think it was Jane Austen, actually.
Really?
Or someone of that sort of stature wrote a bunch of stuff and then never released anything and told her sister, she was like, never tell anyone of this, and just like kept it in a trunk. And then after she died, they published all of it. It was like everybody loved it.
Everybody loved it.
Harper Lee is a bit like, there's this controversy now with Harper Lee where she was never going to release apparently To Kill a Mockingbird is kind of in the middle of a book she was writing called Go Set a Watchman.
Okay.
You guys hear about this? And
No.
so it's kind of a prequel sequel in happening at the same time book.
I mean,
That's if there was another way to phrase that, I would. But it just seems really sketchy. Like apparently there was a lawyer or somebody else was protecting it, and that person went away, and now it's like, oh, we're gonna have this book now. And it's like, I don't know if Harper Lee's really in the place to actually decide to release that on her own.
Okay.
So I think there might be some family shenanigans.
My question about Harper Lee is how old is this lady? Not that age matters.
Old enough. And infirm enough.
Old enough to party, right?
I think grandmother age, at least.
She was a contemporary of Truman Capote. She was really good friends with Truman Capote.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There gives you a little bit of perspective there. She's probably in the background of In Cold Blood.
Yeah, probably
Capote.
ghostwriting in there somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, To Kill...
Wait, the movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman is Capote.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Now, there's someone who did one the same year, like the year after?
Infamous.
That
and it starred
Infamous.
starred Toby. I keep wanting to say Toby Hooper,
Yes.
but Toby Hooper directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Toby something. What's the name of that guy? He's so
Smith McPhee? No.
Well, no, he's like you know him to see him. He's like a little.
He did a lot of stuff.
He did a lot of stuff.
In the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's a tremendous character actor. I'm going to look it up right now so we don't spend the whole time on this thing. In listening to podcasts, I enjoy.
Toby Jones.
Thank you, Matt.
yeah.
Toby Jones.
Toby Jones
there you go.
played in my opinion, the much hated Dobby the house elf from the Harry Potter movies. Character not very appealing.
He was the voice of Dobby.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think he did.
the
I don't think he
mocap.
went.
He wasn't the Andy.
Yeah,
He
did
didn't
the
Andy
mocap.
Circus this thing.
He didn't go full circus.
He didn't go
that's
full
true.
circus.
In a green suit.
Yeah, just like being like cradled by Harry Potter.
It's very, very creepy. So yeah, we got a few things to get to this week.
So,
most
yes.
movie or at least media related, I think is. What
I think, yeah. Well, Matt, you're talking about To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, there we go.
Dareth, we head into the Mockingjay. Part 1. So this is this is a series you're not so privy to, right?
Oh, well, I've seen the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
I haven't
Okay,
seen.
there you
I
go.
haven't seen part 1 of Mockingjay.
Mockingjay yet, yeah. But the first, they're good. I think they're all right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's serviceable
I think
movies.
they are too.
Yeah.
They are too for sure. So we bring it up this week. Will, you had already seen it. I think we talked about it briefly with you before, but I actually got around to seeing it. I saw Mockingjay Part 1 just very recently, and I hadn't seen it in theaters intentionally because, as I also talked about on the podcast, probably in the summer or fall time, talked about how Mockingjay is not a very good book in the series. I listened to the audiobooks of all the books while I was driving across Canada a couple times, and Mockingjay was one that just fell really flat. They kind of set everything up, and it didn't really work. So I was not excited for the movie.
Yes.
And then the movie came out, and people liked it, and made a bunch of money, but not as much money as
the other
American Sniper, kind of. It was kind of
and you were blood red mad over that too, Matt. When
it's not.
I know
it was
what
just
you
a
mean.
stupid thing.
I know what you mean. It comes out, December 31st. It's like it's the most profitable movie of 2014.
Yeah. It's still in theaters.
It made all its money in 2015
Yeah.
though. But okay, asterisk.
Yeah, you should just say from January 1st, 2014 to December 31st, which movie had the most money in that time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, someone could track that, but they don't want to.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So Mockingjay Part 1, it's a movie. It's a movie based on half a book that I didn't think was very good. So we're going into it kind of already thinking that it might not be that great.
Yes.
The focus of the books, the titular Hunger Games. There are no Hunger Games in this movie.
No,
it's
not.
just it's the full blown. Sort of Civil War insurrection
It's a revolution,
that we've
baby,
been looking
right?
for. Yeah, the one that we've been looking for since the first book. Like the first movie had little hints of it. They were like, "Oh, that'll be good."
Yeah.
And so most of the movie takes place in a basement underground, in a bunker
In District 13, right?
In District 13.
Yeah.
So it's not very
The
exciting.
most fun of all the districts.
Yes, exactly. And mostly it's Philip Seymour Hoffman arguing with Julianne Moore about how photogenic or good Jennifer Lawrence is at her job.
Yes.
Well,
the character of Katniss, but yeah, I know what you mean.
The character of Katniss Everdeen, it's true. So my big takeaways from it is that there were elements of the movie that I really enjoyed. I like when I can see directors' choices, when it's interestingly shot. Part of that was there's oftentimes in the movies where Katniss is watching something on a screen. Pete is kidnapped by the Capitol, and he is sending out these missives, these kind of fake interviews, talking heads with Caesar Flickerman, and so they often, throughout the movie, they'll show up and they will, demand the attention of everyone there. And so they never do like what will often happen in a movie or TV. If someone's watching something on TV, they'll show them watching it, and then they'll kind of cut to like as if you're also watching the TV as well. It just fills up all of your screen. And then this never happened. They always showed, or at least not at first, they always showed it from Katniss' perspective. So she was far away and he was far away. And when she got closer, it was still kind of over her shoulder, kind of askew. So it was this kind of, it was a good choice. I thought it was interesting.
So you feel like you come into it as she comes into it?
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's one of those things that you're like, okay, this person, made an interesting decision there that I appreciate. And just in terms of filmmaking, I thought it was good. And it's tough to do, to make interesting filmmaking choices when you're, under the weight of such a big franchise. I feel like, in a situation with the Marvel movies or even something like the new Star Wars movies, I imagine there's not a lot of leeway that directors and people will feel like they can do. So I appreciate when I can see those choices on screen.
Now, who directed this one? Is it the same
I'm trying to find
as
right
anyone
now.
who's directed any of the previous Hunger Games movies, or is it a new director like Harry Pottering kind of type deal?
Will they do a new one every time?
Excellent question.
Oh.
Director Francis Lawrence, and he, I believe, also did Catching Fire.
Francis Lawrence,
Yes.
no relation to Jennifer.
Yes, no relation to Jennifer. So he did the second movie, which I thought was an improvement on the first.
Oh, he's an Austrian. That's who he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, so he did Catching Fire, which I thought was good.
And he did I Am Legend and Constantine.
Oh man,
And a bunch of music videos.
Constantine's interesting.
There's this series, the Constantine series, right? Has been out?
Yeah, it got all weird. They started moving episodes around and delaying them. And
Yeah. So it's like death knell.
Not really.
Death Note.
Not really.
yeah.
The one last thing I will say for Mockingjay is that it suffers from the same thing I think most of the series does, which is the books don't really have really good climactic endings to them.
Especially this one.
First one doesn't, second one doesn't, because when it ended, I was like, oh, I guess that's the end of the movie now.
Yeah, that
And
ended
this-
kind of weird.
And this movie, it has the problem of, well, we have to split a movie in two when there's not really a clean way to do that.
Actually, I would argue maybe it has one of the more compelling endings. It has one of the more kind of cliffhanger endings compared to the other two. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no.
but
Fire
doesn't really happen. Catching Fire,
Catching Fire
I think,
kinda did, yeah, you're
a
right.
really solid cliffhanger, I think,
Yeah.
but just not climactic. And I think it's one of the problems when you adapt material is that you're inheriting the cliffhangers or the issues that are in there.
Sure.
You can't really change them up for fear of having it happen.
Anyway, I think as long as you have a compelling enough cliffhanger, I'm okay with it being done if you can do it properly. But like something like Matrix Reloaded,
Yeah.
the cliffhanger at the end of that one where they pan over the guy And he's a character you've only really seen once or twice.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, who is the... Oh, yeah, he's got him in his head, but who really cares?
Super confusing.
It was really
That's
bad.
a franchise that jumped the shark.
Yeah, but then you've got
Badly.
a cliffhanger. Frankly, you can think what you want about like the Hobbit movies, but I thought that Desolation of Smog had a really cool
With him going to town.
cliffhanger where it's like, oh, they let it out, and now it's going to destroy
going to
it.
town. Yeah. And it ends very silently. And then also staying on Rings, I just finished, I'm in the middle of reading Return of the King. And throughout the Rings series, particularly when it got to Towers and Return of the King, they kind of move stuff around. All that stuff with Shelob at the beginning of Return of the King, where, Frodo and Sam fight him and Frodo gets taken away. That happens at the end of Two Towers, at the end of that book, when Sam is about to, come after his master. And I think that would have been a pretty good cliffhanger, but I suppose they needed to... shift it around for whatever reasons. I mean, it is all kind of part of the same series. So you can change a cliffhanger if you want to, but I think in terms of these, they probably wanted to stick closer to the source material. Mm-hmm. Matt, is that what you think?
It depends. Like the source material is you're going to shackle yourself to it, and you succeed as much as it succeeds in the end.
Yes, you're right.
Gone Girl, a movie that I think benefit the first half of Gone Girl is really good.
Yeah.
The movie and the book, and then it just kind of teeters off toward the end.
Yeah. Because once that twist takes place, you're like, okay, kind of where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of how that movie ends. It's like, all right, well, now we're in this situation, so where do we go from here? And Gone Girl 2 is going to be a good one that's coming out.
Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo, yeah. Yeah, definitely not going to get a sequel to that movie.
Yeah.
Bringing back MC Hammer in his first dramatic role.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one.
That would be amazing.
With Tyler Perry was pretty good in that movie.
His first dramatic role. I like that. Tyler Perry in Gone Girl, very good.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the people...
And in Star Trek 1, or, Star Trek, can't call it Star Trek 1. Actually, yeah, you can.
Star Trek 11, technically, kind of.
Technically, yeah. Or you can just call it Star Trek, because the first Star Trek is Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Yeah.
They're very, very...
Star Trek Abrams.
Star Trek Abrams.
Star Trek Motion Picture.
I've been hearing stories about... Star Trek 3's casting out here. Yeah, I mean, they're casting like very good actors just to be extras in the background, just bleeping and blooping around on the machines
on
back
the off
there.
chance that they give them like an eye captain or something on something.
Well,
like that.
Where's it filming?
It's filming here. I don't know what studio they'd use.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of sound stages they could use. There's a studio I've only been to once called Mammoth Studios. And that's kind of, it's like North Burnaby or something. That's way the heck out there. But that's, judging by the name and by the perceived size, I saw there, it's ought to be a big place. I think it's where the A-Team stages were.
Okay, yeah. So they'd want like our biggest sort of A-picture stage, presumably.
Yeah, they would. Or maybe they don't really need a huge... Cause
shooting all the shuttle stuff, so they just need a little tiny way.
That's true, right? Like all the planetscapes and stuff would be shot maybe just on a treadmill and a green screen, and all you got to build is the bridge of the Enterprise. Got to build an interior of a shuttle.
Here's a question.
You can squeeze that into Vancouver Film Studios, I think.
With the Bridge of the Enterprise, did they keep that after any movies? Like you would think that if they're going for sure use, like have more sequels.
Like that'd be a terrible waste just to throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like you get a new budget every time, but like you could save some money by keeping it or retrofitting it, right?
Yeah, I guess, but I think you know what? I think the storage of the thing, they might. Well, no, you can take it apart piece by piece.
Unless they had sort of tentatively sort of scheduled, and then we'll shoot this movie between then and then, and then the third one between then and then they might hang on to it if they've made it so that it's reassemblable sort of thing, and they can take it down and set it back up or something.
I think they must have made it like reassemblable in some respect because you have to,
because they've still got like old Universal horror sets that are still out there. I mean,
taking
the Psycho
down.
House and stuff like that is all still kind of like people come see it.
They're taking stuff down to make room for Harry. Interesting fact, by the way, speaking of Universal takes you to Marvel's the Marvel Experience. I think. You know who does the voice for the Hulk in that thing?
Is it Fred Tatasciore?
Triple H does the voice of the Hulk. Yes. I watched a feature because I had the greatest day of my life on Tuesday when I was flipping through my channels, and I found out that the WWE NetPack subscription package, way to go, tongue, the NetPack subscription package is available on Shaw, my cable provider. And Shaw is great for your cable internet bundling services. They have HD, they have PVRs, and relatively low rates. and I don't get anything for this. But I get the net pack. So they have all sorts of shows like Tuesday. They had Tuesday Night Titans where Ivan Putski goes to a kielbasa tree and he eats kielbasas off a kielbasa tree. I'm not making any of this up. And they have lots of like little Macho Man interstitials and stuff. It's fantastic.
Kielbasa is the sausage.
I know,
right?
it's a weird wrestling thing where Vince McMahon's like, all right, Ivan Putski, we're here at the kielbasa tree. He's like, yes, a very good kielbasa sausage.
That was the very short-lived WWE Kids in the Hall crossover event.
Basically. Well, it's like Vince McMahon's doing a talk show, and it's right after WrestleMania 1. It's awesome. It's fantastic. It's just so much material. But anyway, so they did a little feature last night about him and Stephanie going through the Marvel experience. It's him in his suit, and he's like, on a shooting alley for Captain America, and he's like, oh, I got to be in the thing. And and they show him in the booth recording for Hulk, and they pitched him down.
That's pretty cool.
They did pitch him down quite a bit, but it is cool, right? Trips gets to be Hulk.
Kevin Smith is MODOK in that one,
Yes, he is. I think it would have been nice, though, if they did get the Hulkster.
If Hulk Hogan was the Incredible Hulk?
Well, let me tell you something, dude. You're not gonna
I'm
like
pretty
me
angry right
Yeah,
now.
you're not gonna like me when I'm angry, brother. I'm gonna drop the big Hulk leg on you, dude.
It's like when I smashed Yokozuna, dude.
Yeah, I slammed right through the mat, brother. That's when I picked up Big Bad Honor the Giant, dude, and I slammed it right down to the canvas, brother.
That's my secret, brother. I always eat my vitamins.
And the Hulk's just there with like a little tiny can of Flintstone vitamins,
Playing the guitar.
playing guitar.
So we're talking wrestling. Will you want to?
All of a sudden,
WrestleMania.
All of a sudden, we're talking wrestling, and it is I'll say it's the 1 year anniversary of our WrestleMania preview show because last year, just about.
I think we're about a week out because I think our first episode, our WrestleMania preview show, was like in April.
Yes.
So this is still coming
because WrestleMania is it's a week. I think it's a week earlier this year or something like that. And there's no way Alex would miss the 1 year anniversary show. I mean, he wouldn't miss that for the world.
No way. Alex is not with us this week. I think we.
Well, I said at the beginning. Oh, did we not say why?
We did not say why.
Oh,
do you want to say why?
Well, it's because he saw the Kevin Smith film Tusk last night, and he's still recovering. He's still
recovering.
Yes, he is. Locked himself in his home.
It can take some time.
Yeah.
To
recoup. I think that he'll be giving us a little bit of a taste of it next week. Hopefully.
I have no doubts. No doubts whatsoever.
I hope he eviscerates it.
It's a very conflicted in my. Even just watching it, I was like, do I like this? I can't tell if I do or I don't. It's just very weird.
It's just such an odd thing to exist. So,
anyway, sorry, wrestling.
Sorry, wrestling. So I'm very excited. I got the NetPack subscription package. So I'm going to have everyone who within reach of my voice invited to the WrestleMania party. It's going to be a good time. Bring your own steel folding chair.
So because you have that means you just get WrestleMania?
I mean, I can just, it's just there. So there's the 2 hour I'm actually recording WrestleMania 30 right now because they're re-airing that today. WrestleMania 31's, next week. It's just going to be on TV. It's just there. Part of the package I already pay for, which is pretty sweet. Because instead of it being $70 for an HG feed, it's $12 for the month, and I get all the other stuff too.
It's not bad. Is 30 the one where Rock basically tore the muscles?
That was 29. That was 29 in New Jersey. Yeah, when he completely tore his adductor.
He's like, my bones aren't connected to my muscles anymore.
Yeah, but he's like, but I'm still going to be the Rock. So it's guys, WrestleMania 31 coming to you live from Levi Stadium, home of the 49ers, the old Denim Dome. Doesn't have a roof, but no.
It's good. Will, I think you mean the Field of Jeans, they call themselves.
Yes, that's right. The Field of Jeans.
Oh my gosh. Which makes me wish that the turf wasn't like artificial or natural. I wish it was just denim.
Yeah, like boys, it could be like
shredded jeans.
Boise State, that blue field.
That's what they do with all those pre-shredded jeans.
They took the shreddings and they put it on the field.
That's what they do.
Exactly. The end zones are acid wash.
Yeah, all the players, we love playing there. It's
hit the boot cut bench. Oh, okay.
Can you imagine if you get tackled? I think when you get ripped to shreds,
it'd be bad.
It'd be bad news.
It'd be good for skateboarding, but bad for everything else.
This football stadium, good for skateboarding, bad for football.
So, Will, what do we got? What's in this lineup as we're talking
So,
about here? I'm a little bit in the dark here.
Yes. So right off the bat, speaking of dark, you got your dark matches that take place before the show. This year, as of right now, there's no tag team title match, and I'm going to predict that that'll be before the show, as it usually does. In years past, they've had a battle royal come before the show just to kind of get the fans to be like, all right, you paid for your WrestleMania ticket, and here's everybody who wasn't good enough to have a match this year. It was, it's like, it's pretty sad.
Everybody gets their WrestleMania paycheck, which is usually a little bit more.
Which is a little bit more, yeah. I mean, and depending how low or high up on the card you are, and that's a bone of contention for CM Punk when he got his WrestleMania 29 check, and he's like, I know I'm not the main event, but you're telling me I didn't put on as good a show as these two guys here. You got to be kidding me. He was pretty upset about that. And going back to WrestleMania 18, Chris Jericho talks about in his book, he was in the main event with Triple H, and Triple H went over for the title in that match, got a big paycheck, and Chris didn't get as much. Marched into Vince's office, and he's like, are you freaking kidding me with this? And Vince, fixed it right away. Which is good.
How does he know? How did he know how much Triple H made? Triple H wasn't walking around bragging about it.
I think that might have been it. I'm not sure.
Look how much I made, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems odd, especially in a business where there's clearly people who get paid much less than others.
You know what? I know, and you know what it is? I think Chris. I can't recall. I think Chris might have just asked him, like, how much did you get for that? And he's like, I got this much. And he's like, oh, okay, thanks. I don't think Trips.
Or he could have just been like, hey, not bad. We got paid. Blah, 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 blah. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get paid that much,
even though we were in the same match. Yes, I remember WrestleMania 27. I went to there with Sarah Canning. She's a friend of the show. She was on the show last week.
Yes. Last week.
Great interview.
Hope you like that. If there's any
that.
listeners from that Sarah Canning show who stuck with us, I'm a little surprised, but welcome. Thank you.
We appreciate you. As I'll
Yeah,
rip off
of
10-minute podcast again, as always. But yes, 27. It was kind of funny that it was Daniel Bryan against Sheamus for the U.S. title in the pre-show match because it got bumped off the card. And that ended up being a big schmozzle, ended up being a battle royal that the Great Khali won because no one's putting him over the top rope, right? And then the next year, Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, they get a little bit further. They open up the card, but they both are in the world title match, which lasts for 18 seconds. Yes, this year they've kind of changed it up. So there's no title match for the tag team titles right now. Tag team champions are Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. The Usos will not be involved because I can't remember which one, but one of them has a knee injury. I think it might be Jay. I don't know. With respect to the Usos. But this year they have the second inaugural. Wait, that can't be a thing. Second inaugural? Second annual now. Yeah, there you go. The Under the Giant Battle Royal, which is basically all the guys who weren't, big enough to be in the show.
I'm surprised that's a thing they kept doing.
Yeah, I think that can. I think with respect to Andre, I think that can go. I think because it was WrestleMania 30 last year, 30th anniversary,
right?
Big deal, right?
Yes.
And you have the Honor the Giant Battle Royal, and there you go. That's your big thing. So I guess they're going to make it an every year thing, kind of like how Money in the Bank came about at WrestleMania 21, and then WrestleMania 22. They're just kind of like we're doing it again in 23.
I mean, it's not a bad idea, especially if you're taking a kid or something to it, and their favorite wrestler happens to be the Boogeyman or something like that.
Yeah.
They get a chance to see him, even though he's not going to.
Yeah. I remember
I can see them honoring somebody else though, because you got to think that 20 years, 30 years from now, God forbid Hulk Hogan's not with us anymore. They got to call it something, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if this subscription thing doesn't work out, we're gonna have to. In 30 years, we're gonna have to come up with something else.
Well, the Hulk Hogan one should just
be WWE.
They have to beat up a car in the ring like Street Fighter.
Yeah, they have to Blanca.
Yes.
Stand on it like Blanca and use the electric
Hulkamania
attack.
challenge. And he's just gonna
I can't agree that. You got 20 seconds. You beat the crap out of the doors.
Yeah.
You gotta drop the
kicking
big
enough,
bag
dude.
leg on that Hemi, bro.
Today's Hulkamania challenge is brought to you by Fiat.
Go back to Italy, dude.
And Hulk is very racist for no reason. So yeah,
Back to Italy said
Very
said
xenophobic.
no one.
or xenophobic. Yes, I appreciate that more, Matt. So yes,
Do it again.
get your Under the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Everybody's in it. I don't really have a prediction for that. Maybe Zack.
Let's
Ryder.
keep going here because we're gonna spend.
Okay, so the
80
Intercontinental
80 minutes on the show
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
space.
Yes, so now we have the Intercontinental title ladder match. This is kind of taking the place of the Money in the Bank a little bit, in my opinion. These are all great guys who couldn't get in a match this year, particularly Daniel Bryan. Most people thought he should be in the main event again this year. There's Bad News Barrett and his abs. Oh, man, got shredded. Dolph Ziggler, the show-off. You got Stardust. Luke Harper, Ron Killings, R-Truth, and then you got Dean Ambrose. So a lot of these guys should have been in their own matches, but this will be pretty good. This is just a huge chance of stealing the show. Take some bumps, some wicked flips. That'll be a good one. I have no prediction really. Maybe Daniel Bryan wins, so everybody gets their little Daniel Bryan moment. Then you got his wife and her sister against AJ and Paige, and that's a Divas tag match. Oops, I said the wrong person was the champion in that one. Whatever. I don't know.
Not to correct.
I think the Bellas win that one. Randy Orton against Seth Rollins. This is something else that has an opportunity to steal the show. I like Randy a whole lot, and I like Seth a whole lot, so I think they can do a good job. Maybe Jon Stewart features in this one at some point. I'd like to see that. I mean, he was on Raw 2 weeks ago, right? So he's involved. I like this one. John Cena against Rusev for the U.S. title. John Cena's first WrestleMania title that he won was the U.S. title, WrestleMania 20. And here we are, 11 years later, and he's in it again for the U.S. title. Yeah, there you go. I can't see him exactly. And then we have 21-1 versus 0-1. The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt, which is a match.
Wait, that's official now?
Oh, it's official. Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
See, I know.
I'm so surprised the Undertaker kept going as long as he did.
Yeah. I guess he can't stop the engine, man.
It seemed like where the logical place for him to step out would be, though. It's like they finally beat him, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go out on top or go out with a failure. But now it's just kind of like, well, I like the paycheck every year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and you got to think he's got to, the month before they sell a bunch of Undertaker T-shirts, he's got to get a big chunk of that too.
They got to sell.
I'm being pretty callous here. I'm just saying.
Nice.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was unintentional. Yeah, very unintentional. Maybe I'm just, he just sounds like he's money grubbing, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think what it is that he sees the character of Bray and he thinks that the Undertaker would be a good natural match for him because Bray's kind of like a Mankind. He's that out there psycho character that would fit good in a match against the Undertaker. So, Mark, Undertaker's 21-1, Bray is 0-1. My question is, how do you finish this match? Right? Does Bray go over and all of a sudden Undertaker's 21-2? And then he's
could easily, Bray could easily lose and not lose that much. Because he's kind of he could lose and then immediately just beat the crap out of the Undertaker with a chair or something like that. And it's like, but he left him laid low.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Right. And Bray Wyatt's walking away. He just pulled the move of all moves. And coming up next, I was trying to be old JR, but I like corny too.
Oh, that is old JR. That was like WrestleMania 9 JR.
Yeah, that's WCW JR, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then we have the King of Kings versus the Sting of Stings. Triple H against Sting.
Ooh. I always thought Triple H's King of Kings nickname odd.
It's an odd nickname. It really
is odd. Oh, yeah. You might as well just call him Son of God. Like that's the same name.
Yeah,
it's just weird to me.
They just need to start calling him Shao Kahn because let's be honest,
because of the Shao Kahn thing.
He's dressed as Shao Kahn.
And then the big controversy of the night, and I don't even know if this will end the show, but it probably will. Is Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar for the title?
You got to think it would, but where's that been left in the last couple of weeks? Like, has Brock Lesnar walked out at a point?
Brock Lesnar is kind of they're actually teasing, like Paul's even said on Raw on the air. He's like, if Brock Lesnar wants to unite the UFC and the WWE titles, he will. Well, and it's part of the show. Yeah. But Brock's even said himself, he's like, I don't know if I'm staying, I'm going to be the champion. If I'm leaving, I'm going to be the champion. So this time they're being very, I don't want to say flippant, but they're being very like, if it's the Brock Lesnar character that he's just like, look, I can do whatever I want, I can come or go. And it's interesting. The last time Lesnar had a match. Nope, that's not true. He had two since then. But I was thinking last time we thought he was going to leave was WrestleMania 20 against Goldberg with Steve as the special guest referee. He's in the middle there. And everybody knew Brock was going to go, and he gives everybody in Madison Square Garden the double bird before he takes off. By the way, I motioned Ian the double bird, and I did not put up the middle fingers because this is a family show, but it's an audio show, so I really don't know.
Can't show that on a podcast.
I'm insulted by the inference.
Yes. Sir, you have offended me.
So that could kind of go either way, you figure? With
I think it's going to be Reigns. I think it's got to be Reigns. But if it's Brock and they do it again at Extreme Rules, I'd be impressed. So I don't know. I think this is a title match. I'm going to be Actually, the title match last year was pretty good, but this is a title match I'm going to be pretty invested in. And I think it could be good. Joe said in an interview with Rolling Stone, he's like, "Hey, we're tremendous athletes, and you should see what we can do in the ring." So he's going to get. Obviously, he's going to get the crap booed out of him. WrestleMania has become a very strong heel crowd, strong international crowd. So they love cheering the heels and booing the faces. And we saw his reaction at Philadelphia. When Reigns won the Royal Rumble, even when Rock came out to help him, he didn't help him get over very much at all.
Yeah.
So
it's just tough because The Rock is like the most over person on Earth.
On Earth, like he's my favorite Instagrammer by a long shot.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, when we're talking about The Rock, I was having a conversation with a friend because we were watching, and this is going to act as something as a transition. So my apologies if I step on whatever thoughts you had there. But we were talking. I'm a friend of mine, friend George. We were watching Terminator 2.
Yes,
movie I've seen many times. And at one point, he just turns to me and says, if we were going to cast a new Terminator, like, who would it be? Like, who would the Terminator be?
Oh, it would
be
like, Sam Worthington.
Well, I said, in terms of if they wanted to keep the same kind of physicality to it, the only person who would be able to do it is kind of The Rock, but he might be too emotive.
Yeah.
But then again, my friend, he also made a point of saying, well, maybe they would just kind of go in a different direction with the kind of the qualities of him.
Sure, they get
maybe they would just go with the T-1000
a
stuff.
charisma chip inside.
But yeah, so I was watching Terminator 2. Now, am I right in saying that you guys have done a commentary for Terminator 2? Is that a thing that exists?
We did a while ago, yeah.
Did a while ago.
It needs to be revisited.
I think it should be revisited, yeah, and that'll come out sometime soon. There you go.
Sure.
Nice and vague.
Did you guys do the director's cut or just the regular one?
We did the director's cut, didn't we? The extended version, yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I know Terminator 2 currently is on Netflix, but it's not the director's cut. So
yeah, well, if you want the director's cut Blu-ray with the menu that takes forever to load, do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
it took like 10 minutes. We went to the internet. The menu takes forever to load.
I thought the disc was broken, but it
just
takes a really, really long time.
Yeah, so that's an interesting, folks. If you have the Blu-ray director's cut of Terminator 2, and you sock it into your dealie.
Leave it for like 10 minutes because it takes 10 minutes.
Go out for a walk and then come back and you'll be ready for a movie.
It's not Frozen.
Okay, so sorry, no, it's not. But
no, it's Terminator 2.
But Frozen is a great film also.
Let it go.
Of course.
Oh, nice.
I feel well done. I applaud it. Yeah. So I watched Terminator 2, a movie that I like quite a bit.
Yes.
A movie that I actually saw before the first Terminator movie.
Mm-hmm. And probably a lot of people did too.
Yeah. A lot of people did. It kind of stands. I mean, it kind of stands alone,
even
though it's very much a continuation of it. But people have given it a lot of appreciation. And guys, I had a bit of a revelation when I'm watching the movie.
Yes, okay, I like this.
Which is the Sarah Connor character doesn't really go anywhere. She's kind of she's already at 11 at the beginning of the movie for being crazy, and at the end of the movie she's still there. There's no arc for her. The Terminator 2 is a movie that people are often like, strong. There's a strong female character, but it's like it's mostly Terminator 1 that has a more of an interesting female character in it because she actually changes.
She fights the machine and wins. Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry.
Well, exactly. Well, she has a very strong reaction at the end.
I think, though, the one thing that she's able to get back in, too, is that at the beginning of it, she's lost hope. Like, she's definitely convinced that 100% this is happening, it's going to happen. And so by the end of it, because she distrusts the Terminator the entire way through, and at the very end of it, when she shakes his hand, and she's got that line over the credits, because she's like, if a machine could learn the value of human life, maybe we can too. Mm-hmm. So it's like she does get that little bit, but I mean, it's not until the very end of the movie, because she's going through the whole thing. She's willing to like wipe out, Miles Dyson's whole family just to get to him to make sure it doesn't happen, and like just it's kids, right? Her whole thing is she's like, I have to protect my son, and here she is pointing a gun at another guy's son.
Yep.
So when she does kind of work through that thing to have it end with her going like, well, maybe we got a shot. I mean, it's certainly not as, I would say, interesting might not be the right word, but I would say she certainly goes on a more profound journey. The first movie,
yeah,
right. I think that's fair. I think she's still kind of like, I think she stays mostly at the same pitch the whole time, and then at the end it's kind of like, and I feel a little bit different now.
Yeah,
which is fair because I just want to kind of see like a little bit more emotional turmoil, a little bit more of the journey.
Yeah,
but I mean, that being said, the movie is more about John Connor and the T-800. than her. So I mean, it's not, I don't even know if she would necessarily be considered the lead of the. She might be kind of top billed after Schwarzenegger.
Well, Cameron once talking about the movie described it as he's like Sarah is the Terminator of the second movie.
I was going to say, yeah, she turns out to be she's completely kind of emotionless.
Cannot be stopped, cannot be reasoned with, like all this kind of stuff.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't heard him say that. That's interesting.
I think that's an interesting way to look at it.
Perspective. Yeah, but I mean that movie. My qualm aside, Terminator 2 is really great.
Well, that's okay. Like I don't mind qualms with movies because, like,
not at all.
You know, when you watch it the 11th or 12th time, you know, it's you know it's good. It's okay, right?
And especially any movie with time travel, it's like you've got to just be like, yeah, there's going to be some holes in this.
Sure, like I enjoy the first Star Trek movie, but I still don't quite. I mean, sorry, the 11th Star Trek movie, but I still don't quite understand it. Do you know what I mean? All that time travel stuff, and
I thought Star Trek handled it quite well. At this point with Terminator, I just kind of accept that I'm not going to get a reasonable explanation for things.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of because the idea is like, well, it doesn't change. Oh, but we stopped Judgment Day, and then I understand with Terminator 3, they're like, well, we just put it off.
Yeah.
I tried watching that again the other day.
Terminator 3.
I'm interested in it. What's the deal?
I'm trying to remember who directed it. I'm wondering if it was. It feels a lot like a Brett Ratner movie. It feels like it
because it's like because he takes a movie as serious that's good and ruins it.
Yeah, but there's moments in it where you're like, oh, that's kind of clever, but really it just is too. I think it's just too. And it's funny saying it now because I think it came out in like 2003.
Yes,
but it's too modern looking. Part of the appeal of the Terminator stuff was just I don't know, something about shooting it on like 80s and 90s cameras and stuff like that. It just had a different sort of like, I don't know. They shot everything at night. It seemed like in those first couple of movies. I mean, there's daytime scenes and everything, but when I think about Terminator, I think about a highway at night.
Yep,
is exactly what I think about.
Yeah, this one's like a little too bright.
Yeah, this one's a lot of stuff just happening in the city. Like the Terminator gets dragged through an entire block of buildings, hanging from the end of a crane.
So this guy, to interrupt, I found the director is Jonathan Mostow, who also directed U-571 and the Bruce Lee movie Surrogates and the Kurt Russell movie Breakdown. And I guess a bunch of movies, I guess. But not really anybody of, with respect to
repute.
him. Repute, exactly, yeah. He listens to this show, I know.
We're sorry.
Yes, but not really anybody with repute, so... Jonathan Mostow.
I am curious about the new one, though. I have to admit,
it should be interesting. I mean, and there's that word, Alex. I know, interesting, but it will be watched, and we'll see. This is number 5 in a series, so obviously it's a series that just keeps. It's going too far.
It can't be put down.
It can't be put down, and they'll never top the second one.
It will not be terminated.
It can't. Exactly. It can't be terminated, and it can't be. Can't be reasoned with. Can't be stopped. Oh, Arnold.
can't be reasoned with is a very accurate way
of putting it. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. Okay?
Should we make another one? Do people want another one?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, people love the Game of Thrones girl. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Let's put her in, and then this Jay Courtney guy who looks like all the other leading men in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Let's throw him in there. Speaking of Hollywood, it's a tough racket to crack, and I tried it this week.
Yeah,
tried to crack it. Try to get into Hollywood.
Cracked Hollywood wide open this week.
How did that happen?
Well, no, I just said.
How did you try that?
So it's been delightfully busy in town, I would say, right? Ian, you can agree. It's been delightfully busy on all sides of the camera and all sides of the microphone, all sides of the typewriter. But we're in the middle. I think we're coming out of what's what we in the industry call pilot season, where they shoot all the pilots for shows. Who called it pilot season? It's like, yes, it's a show they write in they shoot in the spring to cancel in the fall.
Oh,
I can't remember who said that. Some comedian. It's pretty funny. I think it was Ferguson, actually.
Could be, yeah.
He's like, a pilot is a show that they shoot in the spring and then they cancel it in the fall. I had an audition this week. And I don't tell a lot of audition stories, but maybe I'll start. And I won't, name names or times or locations or anything like that. But
right.
This week I had an audition that usually you hear about these things the night before at least. But I got called in the afternoon like, hey, they want to see you again for this thing. I'm like, oh, okay.
That day?
that day. I got call a couple hours before. I'm like, they want to see you again for this thing. I'm like, okay, good. It's a callback for something I thought I didn't, do such a hot job on. And I had one of those earlier this year. So I'm like, great, second chance. Wonderful. So it's at, I said I wouldn't name times, but it's basically right. The audition is when I should be at work at my bartending job. And it's a good, half hour's drive away. Well, it's on the North Shore, right?
Oh, okay.
Well, now everybody knows who that is. But anyway, so they want to see you again for this thing. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll make it work with work. And I was just told work. I was just like, well, I'm just going to be late. What's going to happen? So I went up to the North Shore wearing the same thing I wore in the first edition. And the first edition I wore, jeans and a pink shirt, a pink it's not flannel, but it's got like stripes and a pattern. It's a whole thing. So I wore my pink shirt like I did the first time because I thought it was funny. I was like, I think this fits the character. I think he's kind of outrageous like that. And I went up and wore my pink shirt, stuff I wore before, go into the room, and the cast director looks at me and she just goes, "Oh, you didn't get the note about the suit?" I'm like, note about the pardon me? It's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to wear a suit for this. They want you to wear a suit. That's why they didn't. That's why they wanted to see you again. Because they didn't. These producers are apparently. Yeah, she's like, these producers are a whole. Yeah, they're a whole thing. So they want to see you in a suit, and I'm just kind of standing there, like, obviously not in a suit. And I'm just like, I have a pea coat that I can throw on over top. Because she's like, well, that shirt you're wearing, that's the reason they didn't. They passed on you.
Oh God.
No.
That's so bad.
I'm like, oh, great. So I'm like, well, I got a pea coat that's black and it's got a collar. She's like, let me see it. And I run out and show it to her. She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, last resort. I'm like, I have my black shirt with me that I wear bartending. It's like, I can put that on. She's like, okay, we'll do that. So I ran out and, this is a case where the job, again, kind of saves me. I run out and put on my black shirt and I run back in. And we, run it a couple times and it's, thanks, see you later. But, I haven't heard back from that yet. So obviously,
that's the worst.
Obviously,
stuff like that.
The suit. Well, it's like, oh, you didn't get the note.
Yeah,
get the note. Even if it's like a note, because like they'll tell you, no accents or something like that, or like it needs this kind of accent, which is important in your preparation for it. But wardrobe stuff. I mean, you can't carry the tickle trunk with you all the time.
Oh, it's impossible. But and I try and do the exact same thing, like you say, when you get a call back. I'm like, what was I wearing that day? Because I want to wear the exact same thing because
I don't want to go with anything different.
Yeah, maybe they're like, oh, well, didn't you have those pants that last time?
Well, we really liked those pants the last time. This is the opposite.
Wow.
This is the opposite. It's like we hated what you had before, and go out and put something else on. And I had it wasn't a. Actually, this one's not as bad, but it was just the other day, and it was like it was for a very small part, and I looked at it, and I was like, well, there's not a lot going on here, but I'll go in. And, of course, we head in, and the first guy goes in to do it, and he comes back out, and they run after to get him again. It's like, get him, he's leaving. Get him, bring him back. We need to see him again. I'm like, the neurotic actor in the waiting room was like, well, I guess you did a really good job. They want to see him again.
Oh, yeah.
See more.
Can you stay and read with this other person?
Yeah, it's like, why am I sitting here?
You'd have to overthink that a lot, I imagine.
Well, yeah, and you try to not, when you're sitting there, you're just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Jerk. It's like, taking an awful long time in there.
Yeah.
Wow, they must really like him.
Yeah.
That's always so bad, too.
And I'm still sitting here. So what it was, they just like, here's, 2 pages of a completely different scene. It's just the same character, but, learn this in... half an hour. So it's just like, okay. But that's why, actually, that one's not as bad because everybody's on the same playing field then.
Yeah, that's true.
If all the actors get it at the last minute, then it's not like, when I did, I had talked about this before, so I'll talk about it here. When I did Men with Brooms, did the callback in Toronto, I didn't have sides for that. The right size. Now I had kind of an inkling that they would have changed it. They would have been like, these possibly can change. So just, be familiar with the whole pilot script, which I read a couple times. So I was like, okay, I'm pretty familiar with this, but I had to wake up in a hotel room in Toronto, call my agent who was on vacation with her family in Florida and tell her, hey, sorry to wake you up, but I don't have sides here for the thing. She's like, okay, waking up. She's like, all right, I'll talk to them. Okay. Poor lady can't take a break to save her soul. But that worked out.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of times where these things, fortunately, they don't. You maybe lose some hours at work and you have to, pay for the cab back and you don't get that job.
I remember one of the one of the farther times I got in on-camera stuff, which I haven't honestly done very much of. I've done a bunch of auditions, but I haven't really worked that much on camera.
Yeah.
But I remember one a few years ago where I did the first one. I got a call back, and they were like, okay, yeah, so it's like Tuesday at the callback. And it's a director-producer session with the callbacks. The director and the producer are in the room with the casting director.
Yep.
And I go, and they send me another email with the sides attached, and they're the same sides. So I was like, okay, right. So I went over the scene again a bunch of times, and I go in, and it was one of those things where they give you the script, and then you've got like half a page beforehand.
Yeah.
But they've written a line where they're like, start here.
Yes.
But
yeah.
there are character lines technically before it, but they don't want you to do them.
Yeah.
So we go in, and the casting director introduces me to, they said, this is so-and-so, I'll slate for you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
And so we start, and the line that he feeds me at the very beginning is not in the script.
Yeah, great.
And I was like...
And you get that frozen actor moment of... And time stops for eternity.
So I was like, well, maybe he just started in the first couple of things. And I'm like, I think I know what's going on. Maybe I can just sort of flum my way through it.
There you go.
So I do like 2 just kind of like made up lines, and he's kind of like still reading opposite me. And then all of a sudden he goes, he gives me a line, and I have nothing. So I had to just go, I'm sorry, I have the wrong sides for this. And he goes, oh, so you didn't
get the thing?
have the new sides? And I said, no. And so he looks right at me and he goes, oh, so you were lying then? And I was like,
What?
yeah. Oh, so you were lying then? And I was like, and he goes, that's okay. I have the sides from the other scene. So we just did the other scene with the director and the producer in the room. And he was just like, thank you very much. And I left. And I was just like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I called my agent, and I was like, I got the wrong sides for this thing.
Yeah, and like the suit thing, like, you know, sometimes, I mean, love the agency, and you know, sometimes they'll send you to the wrong spot, or sometimes they'll not tell you about the suit note or give you the right sides, and those are the parts you remember. You don't remember all the times that they had to hustle, to get the new sides, or to make sure they get that note. Like, okay, we're really working on this right now. There's so much work that you don't even see, right? You just get the email on your phone now.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a very, very rare case of like, I got totally the wrong material.
Sure, but those make for the best stories, don't they?
True. Well, they're certainly the ones that freak you out every single time you get anything sent to you.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh no,
is this going to be the right thing?
Yeah.
It's it's 11.
I did one the other day for voiceover where they never implied it, but I just kind of assumed that the character was supposed to have a Spanish accent.
Yeah.
So
you're making a choice as an actor. It's a thing you do.
So I went in, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it because there's like a few words smattered throughout the script that are just Spanish. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, all right, well, okay, I want to say those words authentically and everything like that. So I'm kind of sitting there, and then as I'm waiting to go in, I just immediately start second guessing that he's supposed to have an accent, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it with an accent, because originally it was going to be like, hello, how are you? I'm going to do this.
Yeah, it's like Antonio Banderas.
Yeah,
right?
like
so
big.
Moods.
And so right before I go in, I was like, okay, I'm going to tone it way down, and I'm just going to hit accents on those words. Right? So I do it once, and the director goes, yeah, so you know how you're kind of like flavoring it a little bit with like the accent? And I go, yeah. And he goes, don't do that. Yeah. I go, okay. He goes, because every time you do it, all I'm seeing is like a cape blowing in the wind.
Nice.
I was like, okay, or like a poncho blowing in the wind.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you can that your accent's on point. Then it invokes all these visions.
It's like, this is totally taking me out of the scene with its authenticity. This is delightful.
It's so good. It's ruining everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of good, Netflix got some good shows on there. For the low price of $8 a month, by the way. $8 a month, all your favorite TV shows and movies streamed right to your mobile device, your PlayStation 3 or 4, your Roku player, whatever those are. But there's a show you guys wanted to talk about that I've seen the pilot of, and I quite enjoyed that. It's the new Tina Fey, Ellie Kemper joint, The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes, that's right. First, thank you for sharing those audition stories. They are not always pleasant to live, but they're very pleasant to hear.
Well, there you go. Well, I hope
I appreciate that as someone outside of that community. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is a series that I wanted to just kind of give a pretty high recommendation of. I read an article last year about how Netflix, how their data works in their systems, what people watch, how they rate it, how they like it, how specific they can get with their recommendations. You know, sometimes you'll see movies and it'll be like science fiction with a strong female lead, and you'll see a few there. Or sometimes you'll see ones that are like sci-fi westerns where someone's named John. And they have like 5 movies there. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
It might be. It's only a
I think it's only one, yeah.
And so they must extend this to what they pick up for their series. They must say, well, you know, we get a lot of traction with our 30 Rock, series we have on there, and you know, maybe it's good that we should take something on from Tina Fey. And it's Ellie Kemper. You know, Tina Fey, unlike 30 Rock, not really in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's all Ellie Kemper's show, and it works really well. It's a show that you can tell the person who made it had previous sitcom experience. You can tell there's lessons that they've already learned. They don't have to trip over themselves a second time.
Yep.
And I think that it also benefits something that Brooklyn Nine-Nine really succeeded at in its first year was the casting's really good. They have just a very strong casting to start off, and it made me think, like, you know, there must be some casting directors out there who just must be in high demand because they kind of nail it. And Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt also benefits from the fact that there are a lot of really good one-offs, whether you would consider them cameos or just one scenes. There's an episode toward the end of the run. I haven't quite finished the season yet, but there's one toward the end of the run that has 5 or 6 people in it that you did not expect, and they're spectacular.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I've talked mostly about this. So, Ian, you have some perspective you want to share on that?
I completely agree with you. I was. I wouldn't say I was trepidatious, but certainly.
Well, you weren't the biggest. So, Ian, you're going to come at it from a different angle because you weren't the biggest 30 Rock fan.
No, I've never seen an episode in its entirety.
Yeah.
Of 30 Rock. Not because I was like, I don't like it. I just never got around to it.
Yeah. Well, then you should make the effort.
Yeah. Well, I certainly will now. But I saw that was on there the other day that they had released it, and I'd read an article about them doing it beforehand. I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, she's really funny, and I think Tina Fey is really funny. So I sat down and watched the first show, and I think I watched the entire series in like 2 sittings.
Well, it's a comedy. It's very palatable too. You can just down it.
It's like a bag of Skittles. That show,
you just keep bopping them, man.
Oh, it's so just. Another one.
Yeah, and it's bright and cheery too.
Yeah, it's you know, even when like bad stuff's happening, you're kind of like, because I mean, it starts off, the premise of the show is pretty horrific.
It's
really.
Pretty grim, yeah.
but they're able to just handle it in such a way that it never comes off as mean spirited or anything, even when like bad stuff's happening.
Yeah,
right.
And it's just her, like she's the most upbeat entity I think I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah. She's unbreakable, man.
And she's very believable too. She doesn't seem like it's peppy or put on. It just seems it's very peppy rather, but it doesn't feel like
it feels very natural.
Yeah,
it suits her very well.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like she's trying to do like wacky acting.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
It's a trap that anybody else would fall into.
Yeah.
I
now
think.
Here's something I noticed, and Ian, if you've also noticed this, let me know. But there's obviously some differences with the show than with a traditional sitcom. Obviously, the time fluctuates. There's episodes that are 23 minutes. There's some that are upwards, 28. So they have a little bit of freedom to, spread themselves out a little bit more.
They don't have to cut. They don't have to leave anything on the cutting room floor, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is there have been some dark jokes and edges to the show.
Oh yeah,
that I don't think would exist on a network show at all.
Yeah, the network would not allow it, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to play by those rules because networks have to answer to advertisers.
Yeah.
And on Netflix, it's a paid subscription. Like, that's why HBO can get away with murder.
Pretty much whatever they want.
This series, The Jinx.
Yeah.
They, he didn't get away with it, but you know what I mean. Sorry for spoiler alert for people who don't read the news, but I mean, come on. They don't have to answer to advertisers. Yeah. And now does Netflix.
It's kind of refreshing because you kind of get hit by it when you're like, oh, I've never really seen that in a upbeat sitcom before because they couldn't talk that frankly about drugs, so they couldn't say that's
which will make that joke. Which will put it head and shoulders above most other shows that you've seen.
To it that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's intriguing that way.
Yeah, one network, actually 2 network shows that I started watching, and I missed the first 2 episodes of this, but The Last Man on Earth I finally got around to watching. And I find that very enjoyable. And that, again, I think similar to the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, really is mostly supported by its lead, Will Forte, who's, I always thought on SNL he was a standout, but didn't really get to soar the way he should have. I think Will Forte is brilliant, and I think he really soars in Last Man on Earth. I think he's just hilarious. And then Ian, you and I, we watched, and this is a show I didn't watch the first season of, but season 2 of Undateable on NBC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was funny. I thought it was good. It's now that's an example of your standard kind of network sitcom.
Oh yeah, that's like from
your
the
multicam,
blueprints, right?
Your multicam sitcom. Whereas in opposition to Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which is your single cam kind of, it's not network. You can be a little blue if you want to, without being outright offensive.
And they sort of follow, like, there are the character tropes that are in all of these kind of sitcoms, but I think that certainly the cast that they have just works well in the parts.
Well, it's something that Chris D'Elia said. He said that, when Friends came out, that was when sitcoms could have actors starring in them and not comedians. And then with Undateable, they're comedians that act, but they're all comedians first.
Yeah.
So they know, like, they work in jokes all the time. So that it really kind of strengthens the cast. And Chris D'Elia, he was just here on Saturday, but I missed a we missed a show. Yeah, dang it. They're actually on the Undateable tour right now across America. So it's like
Funches.
Yeah, it's the cast of the show, and they're all touring around America doing stand up.
I would love to see Ron Funches.
Ron Funches is a funny dude. Check out YouTube for some funny Ron Funches clips.
Yes,
he's also
I'll co-sign that.
He's great.
You think he's a funny guy? I think he's a funny guy, man. Yeah, and he's a big fan of. He's a WWE and Nintendo fan, so he's like, oh, you're a man after my own heart. He's got a Wii U and he watches WrestleMania. So
I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I think he's and I actually think he is probably the best part of Undateable. Also, he had all the funniest punchlines.
I want to be a Japanese businessman.
Yeah, you mean like a businessman from Japan?
No, konnichiwa.
I was very clear. No, he's a funny dude. So that's what's going on televisually.
I'm actually quite excited. Two shows that are coming out in April.
Yes.
To stay on the Netflix stay on target with Netflix here for a second.
Yeah.
Daredevil is being released as a series. That's Marvel's full series they're dropping on there. Which curious about. I'm not expecting to.
Well, it's part of the service you already pay for, so how are you not going to just check that out?
It doesn't have to melt my face off, but it's a superheroes show, and Vincent D'Onofrio's in it, which is a good sign. Vinny D. Vinny D was in
Run All Night, the Liam Neeson flop, and unfortunately,
that you adored.
The next, it was all right. The next. Sean Penn kind of took up the mantle of his Taken series for The Gunman, and that turns out to be his worst opening so far.
Yeah, it's getting pretty severely.
Get kicked pretty hard. Oh, because Insurgent came out. That's a series
which also got kind of kicked in the teeth.
I think a little bit. Yeah, didn't do as well as the first Divergent movie that came out last year.
Which I feel like that one didn't do as well either. They were just like, well, we already have these people.
Like it didn't do well, but it's like, well, it didn't do Aragon bad.
Did you know that girl who wrote those books is only like 25?
Really? Yeah, that's always depressing.
That doesn't shock me. Aragon was written by the guy was like grade 7 when he wrote that.
And then a dragon.
And then you're a hot girl, and he catches her.
He said, "You come with me. We're gonna get you a girlfriend." And I was like, "Well, okay, let's go."
I had the biggest sword. My muscles were so big.
And the bad guy was like, "Oh, you're way too powerful for me, Aragon."
But I'm also powerful though, so I'll still fight you.
But I'm also best friends with my dragon. I've never read the books. So,
yes, but that's the whole plot right there.
That's definitely what.
But oddly enough, you've nailed it.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for the Aragon series. Well, Aragon. Well, what else? I'm thinking.
Well, we were going to talk a little bit about. There was a teaser trailer that was released.
Oh yes, this is a weird.
That I want to highlight my.
Yeah, this is a weird teaser because it's not a teaser. It's a TV spot. But whatever.
Right.
It's got two things going for it. Actually, three. It's got Tom. Love Tom. Without a shirt.
Of course, we're talking about Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks,
lead of Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible 5. Rogue.
Self-destruct.
Wait, what's it called? Rogue something.
Called Rogue Nation, which did we know
Nation.
that before we saw that?
We didn't know that, and like somebody mentioned, like, oh, it's just like Star Wars. They're using Rogue in the title.
Is it
it's
like that guy who
it's a word.
built the garbage island and he just floats around in the sea? We
have to stop the guy who has his own country.
Exactly.
Wasn't that what they did with Lex Luthor and Superman Returns? No, he tried to
Man,
build the Kryptonite Island. Yeah, what did they not make anymore? Land.
Who would want to live there?
It's horrible. The landscape's
People will
terrible.
pay through the nose
It's just
for
lightning storms and radioactive
oceanfront
space
property.
rock.
It's oceanfront property, though. It's brutal. But millions of
Next week
people
on the
will die.
podcast, we only talk about the minimal issues that are in Superman Returns.
Superman Returns is a movie that I know isn't good, but I love.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters twice.
Yeah,
For
I
real?
watched it on a
Right on.
drive-in in the Valley.
When they
Lake House.
closed Blockbuster in 2011, I bought the movie on DVD for $5, and it has stayed unopened on my shelf.
Yeah.
While I've moved across the country and back since then.
It's just it's one of those that's in there. I had the Superman Steelbook that I got from Future Shop, and then I bought it on Blu-ray also.
You know what I did one time when I was in college that was really neat was I watched Superman Returns, and then I immediately watched Batman Begins.
Yes.
And just the contrast visually is so amazing. And I think that's what they're not doing right in the new movies is that everyone's angry.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. They think that the Batman thing works for everybody, and they don't do it right because it doesn't fit the characters.
Yeah.
With teaser trailers, it's funny though because they announced the teaser trailer.
Yes.
And I was with Alex.
So they teased the teaser, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, they teased the teaser.
Yeah.
And I was with Alex. I was like, I don't like teaser trailers. They're just like. Just release the actual trailer already.
Wait, is this you talking or Alex?
This is me talking.
So that's an impression of yourself.
And then Alex pointed out, he's like, well, what about when they released like the James Bond teaser trailer? And I was like, I'm going to be all over that.
Exactly, right?
I'm there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, there's certain and like when they release a full trailer for the next Star Wars movie, I'm also there, but I'm not there for, the next Age of Ultron. I get it. Like, I'll watch it, probably.
I'm
but
trying to avoid...
I'm not losing my crap over it.
So somebody cobbled together, like, the 3 or 4 trailers that we have for Age of Ultron right now, but I'm like, I'm going to pay to see the movie. Don't stop showing me so much of the movie. Like, you don't have to sell me that way. Like, okay, so Iron Man's in the Hulkbuster suit. Cool. Like, I was going to go see it anyway.
Yeah, stop showing me more and more and more of it.
Show me more stuff.
It was like with Dark Knight, I watched the teaser trailer, and then I specifically avoided every other trailer because I didn't want to know anything. I wanted to go in totally cold.
Yeah, we talked about this before, but I heard of a guy, like all the Godzilla trailers, when you go to the movie theater, he would close his eyes, plug his ears. Like, that's taking it a little too far.
You're going about as far as you could reasonably.
I think I'm going to close my eyes and plug my ears next time I see the, one of the many, many, many cell phone commercials before a movie. When we saw Battle of Five Armies, there were 6 different cell phone companies advertised before that movie.
Yeah. Last time I was at the movie, there were 13 commercials.
Yeah. God, yeah.
Wow.
13 at Chappie.
13. Oh, yeah.
You went to see Chappie?
Yeah, he saw Chappie, and he actually didn't. Well, Ian, what's your little Chappie review?
I loved it.
Yeah, he liked it.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I saw a trailer and I was like, that looks like.
I went in with the lowest of expectations and was like, oh, cool. Right.
Now, Matt, did you see?
There you go.
Did you see District 9? Did you?
No, but I saw Elysium.
Yeah. See, okay, so that's a bad one to go off.
Well, yes, it's true, but then I just went into it as someone who has seen and liked movies in general, and I was like, I just don't want to see this movie.
Yeah, no, I know.
Little baby robot movie that's I don't know.
See, I hear what you're saying.
Using actors for non-rappers rather from South Africa with weird little voices.
They did. I was surprised with them. I kind of expected them to be terrible, and it's good that they're not because they're in the bulk of the movie.
The bulk of the movie. Yeah.
But,
his name is Chippy. Maybe
he's a hippie Chippy. Your name is Chippy.
Can we go? Like, I know we're approaching the end of the podcast time here, but can we talk about the South African accents as a beat? Can you do one? Is it?
It's very difficult.
Mystery to me.
The best one I've heard so far is probably Jim Jeffries on his Netflix special, and that's because he's Australian. So you can, people who already have a weird accent, like Australians, are very good at doing accents.
Because it's not really Australian. It's not like British. It's like this weird. What is it? What's their history? They're Dutch or something like that.
That's the best way I would recommend trying to even approach it. This is the only way I've had even marginal success with it. Is starting off doing like a Dutch sort of European accent, and then in that accent doing that guy doing an Australian accent.
Okay, yeah,
and it starts to come out sort of sounding South African.
But for performers who, actors are probably, them and spies are probably the only 2 people who will be asked to put on a South African accent for something.
Oh yeah,
and it's notoriously the hardest accent to do.
Well, you start falling back on like Right? And
Yeah,
Brah and all that kind of
brah,
stuff.
yeah, mean, all that stuff. I think an actor would sooner want to learn Japanese than have to do a South African accent. 'Cause it's probably
much easier to do Japanese accent.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I remember a lot of my experience or exposure to it was the documentary "Searching for Sugar Man." We've talked about that before. Have we seen that?
That's a great one.
It's a real good one. And so a lot of that, talking about Sugar Man Sugar Man had this album. No one else hit it. We thought it was really popular everywhere else.
So that's Sugar Man's a South African guy.
No, he's
No,
this
he
dude
was-
from like Detroit.
Oh,
Detroit,
but the
and he
filmmakers
had
are
no
South
success here.
Yeah.
And but he was wildly popular in South Africa.
Got to be popular somewhere.
Well, it was like
Yeah.
someone was vacationing from South Africa, and they were like one of 7 people who bought his album in the States, and they took it back to South Africa and bootlegged it, and it just exploded.
Speaking of people that are popular in weird places, Nelly, the rapper Nelly, did a concert in I want to say Iran, and he played "Hot in Here." And the part where he says,
So keep
take
on
off.
all your clothes.
It
In
is-
fact, put some more on.
Yeah.
Even more clothes would be great.
That would have been a better. All they did was basically, it's getting hot in here.
It's getting really hot. What did he say?
It's getting. It says nothing.
Why would you put that on the set list?
They blank out the thing because it's Nelly, man. And when he went over to Iran, he's like, "Yeah, I came over basically because they remembered about Nelly.
Yeah.
They didn't forget about Nelly. Everybody else forgot about Nelly. These guys remember about Nelly.
They just got my album.
Exactly. It's
Also,
like,
I haven't seen the movie Argo yet, and I don't know if I should.
yeah. They go. It's like in Eurotrip where they go. It's like when they find out they're in Eastern Europe. Like, oh no, we're in Eastern Europe. And that one Russian actor, he's like, yes, we get the new MC Hammer album. Stop Hammer time. Yeah. Actually, that'd be the one Russian actor you can put in the. What was that? We were talking about this before the show. The Tom Hardy film, Matt. You enjoyed. The trailer.
Child 44.
Child 44. And we were talking about how it's like, oh well, everyone's got to put on a fake Russian accent, but what's the big Russian actor out right now besides Peter Stormare, who could play Andy Reyes if he wants to, depending on how much tan they put on him.
You could put Stellan Skarsgård in there.
Stellan, yeah, Stellan's good. Stellan's the Swedish guys because people are like,
He's Russian enough.
yeah.
It's like, get Dolph
He's too
Lundgren.
cold.
He's Swiss. It's fine.
Yeah, who cares? Hey, get that guy.
Mads Mikkelsen, get him in.
Yeah, or when Craig Ferguson talks about Sean Connery as an actor, because he's like, Sean Connery, he's an actor who doesn't bother acting in any movies. He's like, he's like in The Hunt for Red October, he's like, that's right, I'm a Russian submarine captain.
Yes, hello, comrade.
Yes, good day, Dash Verdanya. Now let's all have some hummus.
Technically, he's from Lithuania in that movie.
Oh, see, I've never seen this
And because
movie.
you know so little about Lithuania, you're like, well, maybe they talk like they live in the Scottish Highlands in Lithuania.
You know what the best part about Lithuania is? Stolichnia vodka. That's Stoli.
Yeah.
That's like the one everybody know.
I love that you said that's the best part of Lithuania.
Because that's the only thing about Lithuania I know is that it's Stolichnia comes from Lithuania. It's like when everyone was boycotting Smirnoff.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, come on. Stoli's like, but we're cool. We're not from Russia. We're the good stuff.
No, they didn't give Ukraine back, but we kind of stopped the Smirnoff thing. So
Yeah, I was just going to say, that just kind of went, well, that wasn't about that. That was about the whole gay policy.
Yeah,
thing.
Russia, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of something else. Okay,
Well,
which we
come
also
on.
got rid of, even though they didn't change.
Yeah, well, Russia's mucking up a couple different places, and if you want to really give it to Russia, you got to watch WrestleMania 31 this weekend. John Cena is going to win the U.S. title back for America, okay, against the big bad Russian Rusev.
Well, folks, I think we're coming up. We're coming up on the end.
We're coming up on the end. Yeah, it's too much.
Our thanks to Ian Hanlon for coming
Ian.
out.
Oh,
and,
guys, anytime.
This
Thanks
guy's
for-
tremendous. He
Thanks
came.
for tolerating my nonsense.
Oh, come on. We anticipate your nonsense. We require it. We need it on a weekly basis. We appreciate you dropping in, bringing the Starbucks coffees, the Americanos. I appreciate that very much.
I appreciate you sending one to me as well. I realized that wasn't easy to do.
Yeah.
Well, it should be there fairly soon. It might have spilled a bit in flight.
Yeah, you might want to put it in the microwave once you get it.
Yeah, and definitely tip the small Mexican child I paid to bring it on the plane when he arrives.
And,
Was he on a Concorde? You send him off before the podcast starts, and he'll show up shortly.
No, it was a biplane. He's strapped to the wing with a lady who does that for air shows.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Flying Felicia.
So I think he's going to have one hand holding the cap on.
Yeah. Don't trip. Soren Sally on the other wing with him on that
Sally and Stellan
on that flight. By the way, I am very upset. In my lifetime, I will not fly on the Concorde. I don't care about windows being broken. Windows be damned, I say. Get me on the faster than the speed of sound.
We'll get something else, some sort of Hyperloop, some Elon Muskian super form of travel.
Some Muscanian.
I like the term Hyperloop.
Google it.
I think that'll be the serial of the future, right? It'll be like Hyperloops.
Oh, Hyperloop is a thing. That's a thing.
It's a thing? Oh, okay.
It's a thing. Google Hyperloop.
All right, everybody.
Whether or not it's a viable thing that can actually happen.
Now I'm excited.
Space elevators and Hyperloops.
All right, what a great place to end this. This is a cliffhanger episode, really.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, we'll talk about Hyperloops next week.
To Google.
Maybe Alex Vaughn will have recovered from Tusk by then.
I'm
sure you'll get some instant reactions or you could get semi-instant reactions from @EvonXAlex on Twitter. He might throw something up there. He tweeted about how he was looking forward to seeing Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith favored it.
Kev's really good at keeping in touch with his fans, too.
Yeah, I got one.
And he mentioned himself. Yeah, Ian, you're not special.
I know.
Yeah.
There's one thing my mother always told me. I'm not special.
Where can we find you guys on there?
Yeah, so Ian, you're on Twitter?
I am. I'm at Ian Stewart Hanlin.
Yeah.
Letting that middle name fly.
Is that STEU or
STUART?
No, it's a society to undermine, annoy, and ruthlessly torment, as we know from Doug, the
Nailed
cartoon with
oh my gosh.
Billy West back in the 90s.
Quail Man, lady.
Quail Man, that's right. I am on Twitter at William C. Vaughn. I'm tweeting lots of fun, wacky stuff. That was the hard sell if I've ever said one. Matt, you're on Twitter too, aren't you?
At MP Vaughn, I will often tweet about 80s music and IMDb trivia pages.
How wonderful. Sarah Canning's on Twitter too, but she's got 80 scrolling followers, so she doesn't need any more. And thanks a lot for listening, folks, this week. Next week, we'll come at you with some more antics, maybe some more anecdotes, some more insights. And we thank you very much for being here. And this is going to be the best ending to a show we've done. Thank you very much for being here. See you next week.